Hi YouTube, my name is George. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a different video for you. Around Monday or Tuesday of last week, my dog started acting up very funny. She was doing things that were telling me that things weren't okay. She was starting to move around every time she would lay in bed. Every 30 minutes to an hour she would get up, move around when she was laying next to me in bed, and she would move right next to me no matter where I went. I move a lot when I sleep, so this is very uncommon because she typically sleeps around my legs. And this time she was getting closer to my body and she was getting closer to me. Now, from what I've heard before is when dogs start acting that way or are more distant, so they just don't want to be around you, it is a good indicator that something is bothering them. For me, that was a big red flag. After that, she wasn't drinking water. She wasn't eating. She would go to the bathroom, not be able to poop. And then when she would pee, it would be very little. These were all big red flags. And then she started throwing up. I saw her throw up, and in the throw up there were little strands. So at this point I thought to myself, I think she ate a rag. Now, we've had a lot of toys with strands before, and I actually decided to get rid of them because I've heard negative things about them. And somehow Cora ended up getting a rag, and she chewed it up. Later I found a little piece of it in her kennel, but she was using it as a toy. Even though she has other toys, apparently she liked this one. So at this point I decided, okay, I need to take my dog to the vet. Now, when it comes to a procedure like this, you already know it's going to be very expensive. But at this point, I just thought, I need to get my dog to a vet. So I went over to the vet, and they did a check on her. They told me, this is how much it's going to be, consultation. The consultation was like $55, so it was really affordable. From there they told me, we're going to have to do x-rays. This is what we charge, their rate, and I will check this through my list. I have a list on the site. Radiographs, $183. So it was for 2 days. Now, later on I found out that there's places that charge a lot less than that. One of the cheapest places was like $55, and I had the discussion. I saw the x-rays. I'll go ahead and place the x-rays now on the video. So we saw the x-rays and we noticed that there was something indeed abnormal in Cora. She had indeed eaten something and it was blocking part of her intestine. At least that's how it was described to me, and with so much information being tossed at me, that's as much as I was able to retain. Your only other option is getting a gastrointestinal surgery. Depending on the complications, different price structure, obviously. Now, at the time, foolishly enough, I did not have an emergency fund for Cora. So this was very difficult. Now, what I ended up finding out was that there are indeed places that offer grants for when things like this happen, so that you don't needlessly need to put your dog down or surrender your dog if it's something, with a good prognosis. Prognosis meaning a good chance of recovery. So in Cora's case, she had a good chance of recovery. I'm going to also place a link to a website that has a long list of places where you could go apply. And this will let you apply for pretty much grants that will go straight to helping you if you're not able to pay the full amount. So a surgery like this is upwards of $3,000. That's typically where it ranges. My vet was able to work with me. They helped me tremendously. They helped me out with something called an emergency fund, which I was completely unaware of. After finding out that I needed to do the surgery, I was ready to leave. They gave me a list of dog rescues that I would surrender Cora. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to see her again, but the rescues would take care of the medical expenses, help her through rehabilitation, and then get her readopted. Now, obviously that was going to be my next step if I was not able to afford the full surgery. Right before I left, the vet told me that I think we could actually do it. We have an emergency fund, and if everything goes right, we should be able to do it. And so she walked me into a room and she told me, hey, there's $1,000 set aside that we could put straight to the surgery, and we'll do it this way and that way. And lo and behold, she told me come in the next day at 8:30 in the morning and we will start taking care of Cora. Now I'm going to start putting footage here. If I have it, if I don't, then it's just going to be me. I lost the memory card for my Osmos, this thing. Awesome device. It's a 3-axis gimbal by DJI. I was just capturing the moments leading towards the vet visit because I really didn't know what was going to happen. So we go to the vet in the morning. Well, take her to the bathroom. Everything checks out. Go to the vet. We go to the vet in the morning, and you know, they're ready for her. They take her away. She lost a couple pounds since the last time she visited. And from there, that was pretty much it. I left her off there and I went home. You know, I was really anxious, really stressed, hoping for the best because this vet the vet treated me so incredibly nice, and they've helped me out so much that I had no doubt in my mind everything would go right. And around, I'd say 11-ish. They told me the surgery would start around 10 to 11. So around 11:30-ish, I got a call from the vet. And he called me and he said, we've had a complication. And he explained to me what was happening. And he told me the prognosis at the time, the chance of survival was going to be 50-50. And the amount of money that was going to cost was going to go over the original emergency fund that they helped me out with and the amount that we had already agreed on. And I said, yeah, that's fine. It ended up being like an additional $500 or so it's not an insane amount. So we went ahead and I told them, you know, go for it. Previously, I lost my other dog, Sparky, about 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but it was around December. So 2 years ago, I think. After not being able to survive surgery, and we got left with a massive bill. So this time around, you know, 50% chance for me to save my best friend, 100%, I would do it. So we went ahead and did it. I called in to check in on them. They said, we haven't heard anything negative, so everything seems to go fine. And then I got a call later in the day saying she's starting to wake up from her anesthesia. So she survived it. She survived the surgery. The surgery itself took 4 hours. It was a major, intense surgery that took 4 hours. They had to make like 3 incisions. I have a list of the procedure. Otomy, enterotomy, I'm not sure what that is. Gastronomy, and an intestinal anastomosis. So that's pretty much where they start restitching the intestines together and hope for the best. They called me, they told me, come back at this time and she'll be good. We figured out the payment. I picked up Cora, and then came the recovery.
Oh, it's so awesome. Thank you. He says I had a rough day.
Recovery was not going to be easy. The vet, Dr. Goodman, he's the one who performed the surgery, told me very clearly, we won't know how she will be until these 2 weeks. You know, she could have complications. He told me the 3 biggest complications are she could get an infection. She already had an infection in her stomach. So that was a big one. We don't know if her small intestine will start moving again. I forget what the third one was. But point being, her recovery was going to be very complicated, and we ended up having about 7 medications for her. What I will say now, if you have a dog that's going to be going through this procedure, it was very hard to keep track of all the medications. There were some that were every 8 hours for 2 weeks or 1 week. We had one that was once a day. We had one that was every 12 hours. What I highly recommend, I went ahead and just downloaded an app. That's probably the smartest thing I did. I went ahead and downloaded an app called MediSafe. I'll put it on the screen here. I don't know if you can see it, but MediSafe. It works wonderful. You put in the medication, you put how often you need to take it, and it'll send you reminders when you need to take it, and it helps you keep a good log of it. I love the app. It works wonderful. Not a sponsor, not at all, but it helped me keep track of all her medications, so I made sure she was getting all her proper meds. Her medications started at 10 p.m. that night, a good portion of them. The doctor called me at night, and we had a long discussion. He was just checking in on her, and we decided that we were going to postpone 2 of the medications for tomorrow morning. Consider Thursday the first day back, because that was the first day she came back. So Friday was her second day, and she started eating on her second day. I had to give her food by hand. She wasn't actively seeking it out, and at some point I had to spoon feed her. I was spoon feeding her. She was glad to eat it, but she was not in the mood to go actually pursue the food. And on the 20th, Cora started developing a little bit of redness in the general area, and on the 21st, the redness started getting a little bit worse. During this process, the vet gave me a number to call. I called the number, and they helped me out during after hours, and I just checked Cora's vitals by pressing on her gums. I believe it's 1.5 seconds, but less than 2 seconds, pretty much good. And because I was not familiarized with her gums. So that's another thing. Be familiarized with your dog's gums to find out what they're normally like, and then you could go from there, since some gums, they're supposed to be pink, but there's different variations of them, and some of them are actually pale when you think they're normal. The vet is closed on Sunday, so on Monday in the morning, I think it was around 10, Cora started shaking. I called them. I told them what was happening, and they told me, just come on over and we'll check her out. They checked her out, and she seemed fine. They said the redness, day 3 and 4 tend to be the most painful for your pet, so just know that. They checked her, she was fine. The redness and swelling, they told me to put ice and just have the ice on there for 5 and 10 minutes. That's what I did, and the redness started going away in the following days. Yes, so the 22nd was Monday at 5 p.m. Cora had her first poop. Now, it wasn't the best looking poop in the world, you know, what a normal dog poop should be, but this told me that her small intestines were starting to move, and this was a very good sign. That is where we stand after that. She is now moving. She appears fine. Everything is looking good. She's normally eating again. She's drinking water. She's relaxing. But now let me go over the directions that I was given for gastrointestinal surgery. Now, these are directions the vet gave me specifically. There's obviously going to be different instructions depending on the procedure, complexity, and so your results may vary. So, home care. Surgical procedure performed on Cora represents major surgery. As such, Cora's activity should be restricted for the next 21 days, so it's full 3 weeks. So we're still not through it. It's still day 9, I think, at this point. Yeah, day 9 or 10. To facilitate monitoring and to encourage uneventful convalescence. I assume that means to make sure that the recovery is uneventful and there's no complications. 2. Reduce the possibility of post-operative swelling and infection. It is imperative that the surgical incision be kept clean and dry. Licking of the surgical site should be prevented. Please use Elizabethan collar at all times until the staples are removed at 2 weeks. She still has the collar on. It's the crown, the cone. I have not removed that from her. The second I tried removing it from her, she tried licking, and I was not going to let that happen, so she has had that on for the full time frame so far. Please examine the swelling around the incision twice each day for the next 10 days. If excessive swelling, redness, pain, or discharge is noted, please call Mission Animal at this number. So Mission Animal, that was the clinic that helped me out. Day one, the only, besides the redness that developed, I called them. First day when I was bringing her up, she bled a little bit from the incision. It was just like a drop or two, so it was nothing like crazy. I will also say, if you have stairs, it is imperative that you have someone help you. I had a lot of stuff when I went to go pick up my dog. I had to call a friend and wait till he arrived to help me take my dog up the stairs, because I also needed to carry all the stuff and I needed to watch her at the same time. I have not left home. I've watched her nonstop. So that's another thing. It's going to be a very long procedure. The recovery is a very long procedure. Be very aware of this. I had to call someone to help me get all these things up that I took to the vet. And getting her up was not the easiest thing in the world, but we did do it. Thank you, Robin Moore, for that. From there, alright, so we're going to go on to the fourth step. If any signs of general illness, vomiting, depression, fever, refusal to eat, etc. are exhibited, or if you have any questions, please don't please do not hesitate to call. So I was pretty much bothering them almost every other day, calling them with different questions, just making sure everything was fine. Hopefully your vet is cool with that. Mine was. Feeding instructions. Restrict food for 12 hours. That was not a big problem. She didn't want to eat anyways, but restrict food for 12 hours after the surgery. Then feed only Hill's Canned ID. So it's a special brand of food that's very easy to digest, doesn't irritate them. The vet gave me the food right there and then. When I went to pick her up, it was 12 cans, they say, to keep her on it for 2 weeks. I already had a call with the vet and he said that, just give her normal food at this point, since she has now recovered for the most part. So the vet said it's probably okay now to start giving her normal food. Obviously, please ask your vet before you do any of this if you're going to be going through this gastrointestinal surgery for your pet. Alright, big one. Please wait until 7 p.m. tonight to offer Cora water. Give only small amount at a time. If Cora vomits, remove the water until morning. And when it came to vomiting, the vet gave me a medication that does not allow the dog to vomit. It literally stops the brain from allowing the dog to vomit. So I had that medication for about 4 days as well. And no, she didn't vomit anytime after the surgery. Please restrict Cora's access to stairs for 7 days. Also keep Cora on a leash when outside. She's always on a leash anyways. Stairs, the way to grab your dog, here, envision the dog here. Here's the head. Go under the head. One hand holding pretty much the chest area. Holding the chest area pretty much here. Just holding chest. Then the other hand goes around and scoops like around the butt and grabs him by the leg, and then just hold him like that. And then please give Cora medication as prescribed. Make sure to get that medication on time. Make sure that your dog gets the proper medication. Make sure you're not missing doses. It's very important that you do not miss any of the medication prescribed to you. Please make sure that you follow your vet's instructions very thoroughly if you want a successful recovery. Once again, MediSafe. Wonderful app. Helped me keep track of that medication. From that, I also had to go get omeprazole 20 milligrams orally once a day. So the vet just told me it's an over-the-counter. Go pick it up at your local store. I went to Hy-Vee. Big thing. I'd like to mention, one of the omeprazoles, I could only find delayed release. I called the vet, and they said it was fine. One of the omeprazoles was flavored, strawberry flavored. The first omeprazole I bought was strawberry flavored. I didn't realize that. I gave it to my dog the first day. She was fine. On the second day when I was going to give it to her, I noticed that the omeprazole was flavored. I looked at the back because sometimes medications use xylitol, I believe is how you pronounce it. The same sugar used in gum for no calories. For the flavoring, it just said flavor. So I didn't know exactly what they were using for that. So I couldn't leave to go get her the medication. So I just got So I used Postmates to go get them to have someone pick it up from Hy-Vee and get it delivered to me. The first person actually got the wrong medication. Make sure that if you use Postmates, make sure they get the right thing. They got the wrong medication. From there, I had to order a second Postmates. The second Postmates was super nice. So was the first one, but they got the wrong one. Second one was super nice. They got the right one. They gave me a call, made sure everything was correct, and it went well. Re-examination and suture removal are required at 14 days. That's it. Probably in 3 or 4 more days, we're gonna go take Cora to get her sutures removed, and that'll be that. That's it. It was a long journey. It was difficult, not easy, and now I want to touch back on the touchier subject. What to do if you cannot afford the surgery. The vet will likely have, let's preface this, if the prognosis is good, the vet will not recommend, obviously, euthanizing your animal. That's the last thing they would like to do. So they have a list of rescues that will gladly take your dog. You'll surrender your dog, so you won't be getting your dog back. But just make sure they're going to pay for just make sure that the rescue will pay for the medical expenses and have your dog fully recovered. I don't know if different rescues have different policies, I assume they do. But just make sure before you surrender your dog that they will actually pay for the medical expenses and that your dog will pretty much get the proper medical treatment. You won't see your dog again, but your dog will have a second chance. Now, that is the other recommendation, and then the last one is grants. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to forms websites that offer you help during when things like this happen. Now, a lot of these places have very specific requirements, and honestly, a lot of them are very low on money. As you can imagine, things like this happen often, and now with the internet and access to these websites, they get a lot of requests, so they have to filter through a lot. Just know that that's an actual thing, that they have to go through a lot of things, but there's a small chance you might get some financial help from there. Lastly, it doesn't hurt to ask your vet if they have an emergency fund. In my case, 2 previous animals, 2 cats I believe, had passed away in the week prior to me going to the vet, and the family decided to make a small contribution in the event someone was unable to pay for the medical expenses of a good prognosis. I'm still in the process of trying to reach out to those families. The vet is trying to connect us both because obviously they don't want to reveal their information to me unless the other person's comfortable with it. So we'll follow up on that. I'll follow up on that, and I'll let you know what happened. So ask your vet if they have an emergency fund and if you would be able to tap into that. Obviously, if you're able to pay, try. But if you're not, then these are the other options you have. After that, we go into euthanasia and quality of life and things like that. Obviously, those are last resort if your pet isn't going to fully recover, if your pet doesn't have a very high chance, it's like a 0.001% chance or 1% chance, then that is maybe something you'll consider, just for the general quality of life of your pet. But that's pretty much it. That's how the recovery procedure, that's how the surgery has gone for me. That's how the process went for me. For me, it was really painless as possible. There was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of doubts, especially when I started seeing my dog shake like that. Things like that were worrying me. But she made it. She's good for now. If anything changes, I will follow up. But I'm really thankful for the vet. I'm thankful for Mission Animal Clinic. They're amazing. I'm thankful for Dr. Goodman. I'm thankful for Dr. Tang. She's amazing. He's amazing. And I'm thankful for their entire team that helped Cora recover. And Cora's also very thankful. Cora probably doesn't know what she did wrong. But yeah. I highly appreciate everybody watching. If you have any general questions, just feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll try reaching back to as many people as possible. Please note, I am obviously not a vet, so I can't give you, concise information, but I could try my best to guide you to what route to take, or who to contact that will be suited to help you. Thank you once again for watching, and I highly appreciate every single one of you. And if you're going to be going through a procedure like I did, where your dog needs a gastrointestinal surgery, or your cat or your pet, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope all goes well. Thank you.